question, well, my fact or myth is that you're not supposed to introduce yourself to the casting directors. Fact or myth?
Introduce yourself or shake hands. So fact is, in general, you don't go over and you touch people. In general, that's not really a cool thing to do because some people don't want to touch. Never mind COVID. This is even before COVID. In general, you should not go over and shake the hand. However, that said, I have seen it done. I have seen it done successfully where it has not intruded on the space of the people on the other side of the table. And for me, I don't mind it as much, but I would not want my clients to have to deal with that. So if you're in a callback room, I think it's just as easy or just as great for you to come in and say, hey everyone, how are you? And greet them in that way, but you don't have to do the touch thing. That can hurt you.
What is your number one pet peeve when you are auditioning people?
My number one pet peeve when I'm auditioning people is when they come in ill-prepared. I feel that they need to take everything seriously, every job seriously. Otherwise, if they don't want it, just decline the audition. But you should be there, you should be prepared, you should give it your all, because this career is such an exciting one, right? I mean, think about it. Think about an actor and how exciting that life must be. Every day, you don't know what's your next audition going to be. You don't know if you're going to book that job. You don't know if that job is going to take you somewhere else, and then you're going to meet someone else, and it's just, it can really change on a dime. And I've seen it happen over and over and over again. So I think that you need to bring the love of that into the room, and then also breathe it into the character, and just consider it a time where you get to play, where you get to literally do what you love, because that's what acting should be. If acting is not what you love, stop doing it, because you should only be an actor if you must act. And it's such a passionate career path that you just need to put that out there in every audition. And so someone who comes in ill-prepared just shows me that they don't have the passion. So why should I have the passion for you if you don't have the passion for yourself?
Thank you so much. Well said. Thank you.
Hi. Thank you so much for taking my question, Elaine. It's nice to meet you. Can you please bust the myth that auditions are hot seats?
The myth that auditions are hot seats. Well, that all depends, doesn't it? I understand where you can be very nervous during an audition. I remember my first audition was for a commercial, and my teeth were chattering. I could hear them. I had never felt that before, but that is something that occurs. So it's normal to be nervous. Practicing your craft makes you less nervous every time, or at least better able to handle it. Being on live stage makes it all better able to handle. So if you're considering it too much of a hot seat, maybe the thing to do is to really get grounded by studying the craft a bit more, so that you feel more capable to handle whatever is being thrown at you at the time, or whatever you're feeling, to just let it happen. And I think that is how you get over the nerves. I think it was Win Handman that said to me, if you're not nervous, where there are no nerves, there is no talent. So take that and know that is actually, that's a part of you that is the talent inside of you, and just use it to your benefit. And whether you consider it a hot seat or not, you have to make the most of every single situation.
Hi Elaine, Thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it. My question for you is, how much time would you suggest taking after the slate and before you begin the scene, as well as at the end before you break character?
When you start an audition, well, most of the time people are putting their slate in a separate take, but in the case of your question, where it's all going to be in one, I would say introduce yourself, take a moment to be the character, feel the character, turn around if you need to, and then turn back to us in character. And I would say keep the moment for as long, right until the moment after you become uncomfortable. I would say keep it going until it becomes uncomfortable. Now you can always take if you're self-taping, you can always take that and edit it away, those things. However, if you're in the room and they're asking you, okay, we're just gonna slate and then go right into it. Just remember, it's always your audition. So take your time. That time is granted to you. Take your time, do what you need to do to get there and give what you want to deliver to camera. It can be daunting, but let the experience be joyful for you. Always know this is the best day of my life because I'm getting a chance to do what it is that I love doing. And then do it and make us know it. And I like to linger in character before and after. So I would say even if you have the opportunity to introduce yourself first on a separate slate first, and then do the character, I would say that's the better thing to do.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
In the past year, right, during the pandemic, everyone's stuck at home. If you happen to have an audition request and you were by yourself and have no one to read with you, but there are other characters in the scene, how would you advise best approaching that as an actor?
If you're an actor that has a self-tape request and you have no one else to do it with you, I would recommend, well, first, I would try to have a friend over Zoom do it with you, or another platform, even FaceTime, for timing, because it does help. And it helps for you to react, after another character. Now, there are a multitude of platforms now that actually have actors waiting to audition with one another. So I don't know them off the top of my head, but I have heard of these things where there are people ready, or you can just sign up and someone will read opposite you. Also, if it's something that's really important to you, definitely you should have a coach on standby, ready to do the self-tape with you, whether it be in person or via Zoom, because you want that, especially if it's something that you have to give in, that's a self-tape. It absolutely should be done as many times as you need it to be done before you say, that's the one that I want to send in. I look at self-tapes even more critically than I would in the room. In the room, you can only control so much, but when you're doing a self-tape, I have to imagine that you have at least done it 5 times. And of those 5 times, you will have looked very carefully at each of those options before you choose which one best represents you. I think that is the best thing about the self-tape experience. And I think that a lot of actors don't take that advantage that they have there to watch themselves, critique their performances, give one better if they have time, even after, if they watch all of their options and they're not happy, do it again. Because when I look at that, I have to imagine that is what you think is the best performance to give me. So take your time, definitely utilize the platforms, have a coach on standby. Technology is too rich for you not to have another person reading opposite you. And if the worst comes to absolute worst, I recommend that you tape the other lines for yourself and have them on a time bar. It's definitely a techie thing and you have to get used to it, but it's better for me to hear that than to just feel that you are reacting to nothing. And if you study the craft of acting, you know that acting is not just acting, it is also reacting. And so you need to have something to play off of. And so I recommend that you work really, really hard to try to get someone to read with you, even if it's just your mom.
Thank you for that great answer. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.